welcome to the Micky and Woody Show with me, Paul Wood, and my little mate, Micky tightest man in rugby league. And don't forget, search for the hero inside yourself until you find the key to your heart. In association with Get a Tax Rebate, 1895 Sports, Mesa Vienna Aesthetics, CDX Security. Okay, welcome to the Micky and Woody Show, episode number 10, Micky.
Yeah, number 10.
Another, we keep saying it every week, but we've got such a legend on again this week. It's hard because we've had...
Thanks, pal.
Our guest is not a bad one either.
No, I know.
But, you know, it's been a fantastic, you know, keep saying it again, you know, most weeks, you know, it's been a great start for us, and the guests just keep getting better and better, you know, the likes of Martin Afire, Tony Adams on there, Paul Sculthorpe, you know, and then, you know, another big guest. And you'll be happy this week, Micky, because your gym's going to be open in a couple of weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, finally some good news regarding the gym. So I think it's the weekend of the 25th. So I've just started a couple of outdoor boot camps that are really busy. Just trying to get some people back into a bit of routine, you know, coming to some classes. And so I need to get all my equipment back there lent out, get the gym cleaned up and get open, and I expect it to be really busy. So yeah, finally moving forward.
Yeah,
all right?
Yeah, mate, good. I've had a good week, and just pretty quiet. It's good to get back to some normality now, and then obviously in the next couple of weeks, Luke to get into our studio and start doing these sat next to each other instead of through Zoom. But let's bring in our first guest, because he's an OBE. He's the most decorated guy in rugby league. 37 winners medals. Mate, I walk around Wigan with 3 Challenge Cup medals, thinking that I'm king of Wigan, and I forget that this guy's got 9 of them. So, you know, it's you know, what a legend. But, you know, played for Wigan, Balmain, London. He's got 36 GB caps. You know, his coaching career, wherever he's gone, basically, what I'm saying here,
there's been success.
Success everywhere. So let's bring him in. It's Shaun Edwards. Welcome, Shaun.
Hi, Matt.
All the best with the gym going back. I think it's a massive part of, you know, there's a lot of thing about mental health and all that at the moment, and there's nothing like, you know, going into the gym and, you know, doing your rehabilitation exercises, or, you know, having a good workout if you can. And it's a huge part of people's lives nowadays, and I think it's a real positive thing that you're doing there, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Shaun. I know it's, like I say, it's no better feeling, is it, getting that gym, get a good sweat on, whichever kind of training you like. And I think I've been speaking to a lot of people. They're getting to a point now where they're desperate to get back in and, you know, get it open, because, like I say, as much as it's physical training, it's mental training as well. And, you know, the gym, there's nothing better than you've had a shitty day at work, or looking at earache off your missus all day. You can either go to a pub or go to a gym. So pubs can open now, but gyms quite care. So it didn't quite work for me, but so we're getting there on both now.
I know. When I retired, I mean, I had so many injuries as I couldn't really train, you know, because my neck was terrible and my knee, and, you know. But what I started doing was doing my rehabilitation exercises, which for my knee, for my Achilles, for my neck, but just don't have a rest. So, you know, all the ones that the physios gave me, and that's what I've done. I've done that for the last 20 years now, and it you know, you can actually burn a few calories off and stuff like that. And it, like you say, it just gives you that feeling of, like, you know, you've done something positive in that day. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, as I said, when I first retired, I didn't do anything for a while, and really mentally, it really affected me. And what, like I say, you know, we're doing that circuit of my rehabilitation exercise. It definitely helped, 100%.
Yeah. I'll go with that, definitely.
Upstairs and downstairs.
Yeah. So, well, just starting, mate. I say, just tell us a little bit about how we said it before we come on air about the signing for Wigan when you're a schoolboy, because everybody knows you know, you got a load of money and you spent it all on whatever it were when you were a schoolboy.
Well, what happened was I signed on Breakfast TV, and there's a lot of people watching. I think Wigan wanted the publicity, obviously, and they said that I got 35,000 sign-on fee, which is an absolute load of nonsense, to be honest. Because to actually get the 35 grand, I had to play. I got 10 grand up front, and then it was like the rest of it was I had to play 5 years at first team, play for Great Britain, go on a Great Britain tour. But obviously, the rest of the lads who were playing at the time, some of them were earning under 50 quid a week, and it was 25 quid for a loss or whatever. Well, they weren't too happy about this little getting this 35 grand, and they certainly let me know about it, put it that way. The first 10 matches, I think I've knocked my tooth out, broke my nose, semi-dislocated my shoulder, and had about 35 stitches in various head wounds. And I was wondering whether I'd made it right bleeding to create choice.
No, I think you did.
And Murph put me on the wing. He put me on the wing, and it was brilliant. After the matches, I was out. I was fussing out in bar and looking great. It was absolutely brilliant, honestly. And I got the same win money as everybody else.
I mean, that 1983, 10 grand is it's a lot of money now for a 17-year-old. You give 17-year-old 10 grand. So, what did you do with it in 1983?
St Helens offered me most. St Helens offered me a lot more than that. A lot more. Honestly.
What was it? Was it the pull of being Wigan lad?
Well, what it was, the best team at the time were Widnes, and the bloke who tried to get me more than anybody was Dougie Lawton. I remember I played a match, schoolboy match, and he come to watch me, and he was the first person to approach me actually, and I played absolutely terrible. I must have had a fight with every single player on pitch, right? And I got sent off. So I'm going home at bus from schoolboys, with rest of lads on bus. I'm walking down our street, and he pulls up beside of me, but Dougie Lawton. I thought I'm never going to see him again, but I turned around because I'm sorry, I was terrible. He said, "Don't worry about that. I'm not bothered that you didn't play so good." He said, "I just wanted to know if you had any bottle." And I thought to myself, well, at least that's one thing I showed, because I had a fight with nearly every player on pitch. And so Dougie and Widnes were the big team at the time, and Wigan were, they were mid-table. They weren't the superpower they became, but. My dad used to write a little book sometimes about, for my matches. Didn't play very well, usually, but critical, very critical. And then he wrote a thing saying that, Shaun has to decide whether he wants to play, potentially, one day, hopefully, play at Wembley in front of 40,000 Wiganers or 10,000 Widnesians. That was no disrespect to Widnes, but they were going to Wembley every year back in them days. And that got me. That really, really got me. I thought, no, I want to go Wigan. And obviously, with Maurice Lindsay coming in and the great four directors that we had, Mr. Rathbone, Mr. Hilton, and these guys were just so hungry for success. And they brought so many fantastic players together.
What was it? What swung it, Shaun? Was it going in the being able to have full access to the Riverside bar at Central Park after matches?
It was we didn't have Pagan in as well. That was pretty good. You had your own chair for stand on. Not to sit on, to stand on.
So you've chose Wigan, your hometown club, which it's pretty self-explanatory why Wigan's a great rugby league club. But just talking about the drive, a lot less
money than I could have got elsewhere, though. A lot less money.
Yeah, but was your dad a big influence in that? Because I know that he's played a big part in your development as a player, as a young lad.
Yeah. I mean, obviously your parents were a big influence. The rest of my family, my granddad was my best mate, actually. And other people, people like Mick Clure, Jeff Lyon, who they helped me physically, to become, a professional standard rugby player. Mick Clure, Jeff Clure, he played for Wigan. Dave Lyon was Jeff Lyon's son. He was a Great Britain international as well. Went on to become a Great Britain international. And we used to train together all the time on the track, the old Woodhouse Stadium, down Woodhouse Lane. And those people were a huge influence, and it ended up being obviously the right decision, because you had unbelievably ambitious people, and people like Maurice Lindsay, as I said, Mr. Hilton, Mr. Rathbone, and obviously Jack, who just passed away recently, Jack Robinson.
Right. What do you think was, because there was a middle of the table club when you signed from Wigan, but there was a big transition period from you going in. What do you think? I always remember starting watching Wigan in around about 1990 as a 9-10-year-old kid sitting on the wall at Central Park, and I was very fortunate enough to live in Wigan in the era really when Wigan just absolutely dominated rugby league. What do you think contributed to that success?
Well, spending more money than any other club was probably a good way of starting it. But there's other clubs, in football, in rugby union, in rugby league, obviously, have gone on big spending sprees. But it's getting the right characters in at the right time, and I think they got a lot of like-minded people in that Wigan team. Andy Gregory, who I still keep in touch with, and Ellery Hanley, my great pal. People like that who are total winners. And Joe Ladden coming from Widnes, all these fantastic players. We had Henderson Gilmer at the time, and he was a winner down to his bones. And I think bringing like-minded people together, I think that was a big part of it. We used to hate losing, really, really hate losing, and when you have that sort of attitude, good things usually come your way.
Do you know what? It's massive. Sorry, buddy. It's massive because we talked last week a bit about Paul was saying about his Warrington team. How, when you'll vouch for, like, you had really quality players, but you didn't quite get that success, did you? When he was saying like your Saints and Leeds at the time when they were winners, and it just shows, isn't it? You've got to have that will to win. And I think, probably no disrespect, Woody, I think you guys were kind of, like Cole said, one of his great comments was it. You celebrated like Saints, but you didn't win the trophies like Saints at that time. And I think that was where you can see it. You all had that winning mentality, didn't you? I know it's massive, that, isn't it?
I saw this thing, about elite sport and Michael Jordan, and he believed, and I think there is something in it. Sometimes there has to be a little bit of friction in your team as well. That keeps everybody on the toes. You know what I mean? You don't have to be bosom buddies or best mates, but sometimes there has to be a little bit of friction. There's that, and within your team as well. And then once all that energy comes together, it's an unbelievable force. And like you say, and hopefully you win over. Because let's be honest, rugby's a very physical game.
I think, it's a great. That was leading on to my next question, actually, about when you've got such a successful team and you've got all those characters in that team, what was the team dynamics like? Were you like, a full squad of best friends, or was there a lot of fiction, a lot of competition that brought, fisticuffs?
Really. We used to go out on Thursdays having a drink and that, a lot of Wigan lads, who were living in Wigan. But yeah, there has to be a little bit of friction, I think, as well, to keep everybody on the toes, as I said. There's different characters in the team, but obviously, the coach has a big say in that, keeping people on toes, but also the players, the leading players, because let's be honest, you look at a lot of great teams throughout history, there's one common denominator. These are very, very strong-willed senior players. Players who are desperate to win. Look at Tony Adams, for argument's sake. Like I said, you spoke about him. He was on the show a few weeks ago. In that Arsenal team, they had some strong characters, didn't they? And that's what you need.
Yeah, I think going back to what Cole said last week, we probably had spent a lot of money at Warrington in the early days, and then but probably our top players probably weren't big enough leaders at the time, and that's where probably the transition came over when Tony Smith came in. He dropped two of our biggest players, and that was a big wake-up call for people, I think, and it changed the mentality. So, you know, it's a great comment. I think I completely agree with you. You can spend the money, but it doesn't necessarily just because you've spent the money, you've got the best players, you've got the best coach. I just don't think that's enough. The team dynamics within there, you've got to have those leaders, and those leaders, you know, they want to win they want to win the gym, they want to win the races on the field. You know, they don't want to be dropping balls.
Yeah, and they realise they're not in a popularity contest either. They're there to win, simple as that. And you know, if you upset Sunday, well, they're obviously not. They're not strong enough mentally themselves to. If they can't take a little bit of stick, you know what I mean? Because at the highest level, you know, it's you know, it gets pretty tasty.
What do you think about what? Sorry, Micky, go on.
No, you go, Paul. Go on, mate. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, what would you say to people who say, well, I could have coached that Wigan team who won, you know, 8 Challenge Cups on a trot. Do you think that the manager played a big role in managing those characters within the team, even though you had the players and the leadership? Do you think the manager played a role?
Yeah, you still need a top coach. We had you know, different sorts of coaches. You know, when Graham, you know, obviously Murph was there first, and then Alan McInnes and Colin Clark. Brilliant, you know, they were great for us at the time. And then Graham Lowe came in, and he was like really dominant at first. And then we had John Mooney, who was an incredibly great tactical coach. And then we had Graham West, who, you know, Graham West, he had such a fantastic squad at his disposal. One of the biggest things of being a top coach is picking the best team.
Yeah.
You know, pick the best team to do a certain job against a certain team. And that's what Westy was brilliant at. You know, he was brilliant at that move to Wigan into the centre. You know what I mean? For argument's sake. That was a fantastic move, like, you know what I mean? And, you know, brought Martin Hall in with Neil Cowie, and, you know, so, yeah. I'm still having an eye for a player as well, and picking the right team it might sound a bit old-fashioned, but it's still a big part of the job.
Just on that, Shaun, how was it like? So when you had, like, you know, you had probably 20, 24 international players, when them 8, 9, 10 players weren't playing every week, how did they take that in training and stuff? Because, you know, when we had Tony Smith at Warrington, you know, Tony was massive on, if you didn't play, you still had that massive part to play in your team, because if you sulked and moped around at training, you'd have a massive effect on the team's preparation for the weekend. And he said often them guys that don't play are much a part of the successes, you know, the guys that do play. How was that?
We used to be big on that in the Welsh rugby camp recently, when, you know, we won at Gatland, etc. And he would always say the lads who'll decide whether we win the game or not is the lads sometimes who are not playing, because it's how tough that practice is, you know, how intense the training is in the build up to the game, and which obviously aids you going into the game knowing that you've been absolutely perfectly well prepared, because the opposition, you know, were bang at it. They were 100%, they were at it, you know what I mean? And it was a similar theme when I was lucky enough to coach Wasp, you know, with great leaders like Lawrence Delalio, you know, Josh Lucy, Simon Shaw, you know, great, you know, all British Lions and England players, World Cup winners. And it was a similar feel. It was a similar feel there. It was a little bit of friction, you know what I mean? But once we got together, come kick-off time, all this force of energy was going in the same direction.
Yeah, it's massive, isn't it?
What do you feel was the biggest success for you at Wigan? What do you feel like your biggest achievement was in that part of your career?
Keeping my place in team for all that time, to be honest, because you kind of knew that if you had a bad season and then you know, or even had 2 bad injuries on the boat, it's a pretty good chance you might be on your way. So obviously keeping my position in the team. I mean, you know, obviously winning all those trophies was fantastic. But just being around those highly competitive people is, you know, was a pleasure for me to do that, because I feel I'm quite a competitive person myself.
I think it's good that, you know, I always say each week, it's great to, you know, get kids to listen to people who have achieved high levels of success. And for you to just give that answer in terms of you've won 37 winners' medals and you've not picked one of those medals as your biggest achievement, and to say, you know, my biggest achievement was to stay in that team. I think it just shows that, the high level achieving coaches or players, it's the small things that add up into the big things. It's those small targets that you need to set yourself.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't disagree with that. Yeah, just have some realistic short-term goals, and don't be a slave to long-term goals. That's what I think, because there's always something that could change along the line, and we all want to win every single trophy, but set yourself realistic short-term goals. That's what I would suggest that players work.
Oh, it's interesting, isn't it? Just on the mentality side of it, like when you won, was it 8 back-to-back Challenge Cups? Is that what in Wigan?
Yeah, and I played in every round.
And like,
I earned a few quid as well.
I've done all right there, haven't you? Break that down. But yeah, again, winning 8 back-to-back, it's almost like saying, give somebody else a chance to win it. But what is your mentality there? Like, I know we won it. I say we're a fraction of that, but we won it back-to-back 2009 to 2010 at Warrington. Yeah. And I don't know, that feeling is just as strong as ever, isn't it?
Hey, I watched you train at Wasp for one of them things. I thought,
we come down, didn't we?
These lads are ready to play. I'm ready to play. And I remember.
Sorry, I was just going to say that them 3 finals I played at Warrington, and I'm sure you guys would say you'll
train at Wasp, didn't you?
Yeah, every final I never ever was in doubt that we'd never lose the game. I know you approach it like that, but even during the games when we played, there was never a doubt what it was that
no,
we were going to lose. I take it you guys must have been exactly the same.
It's been a positive fear as well. Is good. That the fact that we're playing a good team here. We've got to be on a mettle. We've got to be in great shape physically and mentally. And then you do get that sort of. I used to get really doubtful about 2 or 3 days before a game, but then when it came game time, I almost, when I knew I was prepared and the lads were ready, it's such a fantastic feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fantastic. You just think we're ready today. We're going to get it.
Apparently, Shaun, though, you never played the week before a Challenge Cup final. Is it true that?
That's
the hamstring injury?
I think I played once or twice, but that was about it. But he said it was okay for me to have a rest, because he said I was a tactician. Me and Greg, we were the tacticians, so they had to look after us before Wembley.
Correct. You need to be ready. Every week we played before Wembley, we get battered by 50, won't we? We were like, I think we were playing like tick and pass. We got beat off, no respect. I think we got battered off London, didn't we?
Yeah. And then Wakefield.
Wakefield happened at our place.
When I used to, I would like, hopefully, the game would be a winnable game before thing. But I would just, the week before Wembley, I would go like into a hard training camp and train like unbelievably hard, rest over the weekend, and then go into that week, the final week, with a springy mistake. Knowing I've trained really hard, I've increased my fitness a little bit, because once you get on that pitch in Wembley, you guys understand this. It might be 20 degrees, but it feels like it's like 25 degrees on the pitch, doesn't it? It's absolutely boiling hot in it, and you have to be, you have to have that extra little bit of fitness, I think, going into the build-up.
So moving on from your Wigan career, you went over to London, then you went over to Bradford, and then you regained back to London. How did you find?
It's one of the best things I think I've ever done. You should ask me. I'd forgotten. Was come second with London Broncos. First year I went down there, we came second, and it was the last year of first past the post. Bradford Bulls won the championship, and a couple of years later, we actually got to Wembley with London Broncos, which everybody could look at me and say, like you said, anybody could coach that Wigan team, but anybody could play in it. They could throw that at me, and so when I went to London, to come second and actually get to the Wembley Cup final was very satisfying for myself. You know what I mean? Because there were a great bunch of lads, a lot of Australians down there, who they like to be here, they like to have a bit of fun as well. But actually, when they come down to it, they were real serious rugby players too, and some good lads as well.
We had Merton Afire on a couple of weeks ago, and it was, I think that's when we look at that Wigan team that was so successful, it's easy to say, well, I could have played in that team. But the likes of yourself and Merton, when you moved on from Wigan, Merton still had, a similar try-scoring record, still scored a lot of tries. You were still successful, So I think it's, people can easily use that excuse as, I could have played in that team. But you showed that when you moved on, you still had that winning mentality. You still had the skills that contributed to Wigan being a successful team.
Well, yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons that actually I got a job at Wasps, because we'd played against Wasps in the sevens at Twickenham, etc. And a lot of people wanted to buy into that Wigan mentality of, a lot of players went on to become coaches. Like I say, moved on to other clubs and were pretty successful. So a lot of people wanted to know the Wigan way, really. And like as I said, it's been a great ride.
Just moving on to your coaching, Shaun. Obviously, you coached, all your coaching career in rugby union. How was the transition?
I coached Lancashire under 18s.
Yeah, and
against Yorkshire at Edinburgh. Jason Robertson was our standoff, and he played for Lancashire, even though he was from Yorkshire. And Ellery was the coach of Yorkshire, and I was coach of Lancashire.
You won, right? Yeah.
I'm retired. I'm retired as a rugby league coach. 100% record.
At Get a Tax Rebate, we make it easy for you or your business to claim back thousands of pounds in tax. Most people, like Jane and Philip, don't realise that they are owed money from HMRC, so they never claim. All you need to do is fill out a simple form on our website and we'll do the rest. It's that simple. We've also helped business owners claim back millions of pounds in research and development R&D tax credits. So if you're working in a business or own one, contact us today to see if we can help you claim back tax and improve your cash flow. Get a Tax Rebate, your tax refund concierge.
(1895) Sports and State of Mind, the ultimate lineup.
Micky Vienna Aesthetics, based in Wigan. For all your wrinkle treatments, dermal fillers, lip enhancement, energy boost injections, immune boost injections. Please visit us on Facebook or Instagram at Micky Vienna Aesthetics.
CDX Security, proudly supporting rugby league.
So obviously, you've gone with your coaching at Wasps, British Lions and stuff. British and Irish Lions. How do you find you seem to really enjoy the coaching side in Union. What's kept you there really, and how have you found that?
Well, what's kept me? I like the big occasions. I'm addicted to the big occasions.
Right.
Games. I'd say the last 18 months, I went to a World Cup, 2 Six Nations, and probably the average attendance for the games I've been involved in, probably about 60,000, 65,000. It's very addictive.
Yeah.
A lot of people said, well, why don't you become an head coach? Even though I was head coach at Watford for 5 years, but to be involved in an international rugby union, it's a big occasion.
Yeah,
6 nations, you know what I mean?
It's massive, isn't it?
Favourites the whole country after Christmas. Everything's a bit miserable, you know what I mean, in January. Then you think, 6 Nations just round the corner. Start to Super League, obviously, as well, up north. But yeah, it's just the big occasions that I definitely enjoy.
So when you finished playing there, Shaun, everyone would probably presume that you want a coaching career, that you come into rugby league. How did it transcend that you ended up going into the rugby union?
The reason I went to London Broncos in the first place is because I had a son who was born on St Patrick's Day, actually, in 1997, James Shaun Edwards, and he studies at university in Scotland. My son James, and the reason I went down there, I actually lost. How much did I lose? I lost about £90,000 over 2 years by going down to London Broncos, which is a lot of money. Just because I wanted to be close to my son and I wanted to be a decent dad. I couldn't do that up in Wigan because it was just too far, 200 miles away.
Yeah.
And it was the same. So then I retired from playing and I wasn't good enough anymore at that stage. And I wanted to go into coaching. I was out of work for a year and a half. I didn't have any real offers or anything like that. And I went to Australia with Wayne Bennett, learned about, obviously, rugby league and his style of coaching. And then I also went to England rugby union training with Ellery Hanley. Ellery was the defence coach for the English Saxons at the time, which was the second team. And I was impressed. And it was the fact that there's rugby union in London, so I could be near my son, and Wasp, funny enough, because I kind of knew Lawrence Delalio a little bit. There'd always been, you have a team, you have an NFL team. What's your team like? You know what I mean? Or, team in the I don't know, in the Real Madrid. You know what I mean? In Spain. Yeah. Well, Wasp was my rugby union team because it was in West London where I used to go quite a bit because Heather lived there, and I knew Lawrence because we played against him, and I always remember being in the tunnel with him at Twickenham, and we'd wipe the floor with most of the other teams. And I was remembering going, shouting, "Let's smash these rugby league so-and-sos," like, you know what I mean? And I thought, I like this guy. I really do like this guy. And I told him that. And so I knew Lawrence as well. And I think he put a word in for me. But the main reason, or the only reason, is the fact that I wanted to be near my son. Living in West London with London Wasp enabled me to be a dad.
Oh, it's fair enough. Massive. Well, obviously you went on to the international. You like the big games. You got through that. Then you got the job with Wales. Was it under Warren Gatland with Wales? Yeah.
First, I used to work at Wasp and Wales. I had two jobs, which was great for me. You know what I mean? I was coaching every day, really, which was fantastic. Then Wasp, we went into nearly went to the wall. They had a huge financial problem, so I ended up leaving Wasp and just being with Wales for what ended up being 8-9 years.
Did you have to? Would you say that you had to learn a lot about rugby union, or did you take a lot of your rugby league knowledge into rugby union?
Mixed both. The technicalities of the game of rugby union, which there's quite a bit of that. I would definitely say Warren Gatland helped me a lot with that. There's no doubt about that. About getting isolated on your own, about ball presentation, about the clean-out guy coming over top of the ball, etc. A little bit like rugby league. It's the same really as rugby league, except that you don't have to go back 10 yards, and the fact that you want to have quick play the balls in the attack, but in the defence you want to have slow play the balls, and it's exactly the same in union. You want to have quick rucks for the attack, but the defence want to get in there with their hands and slow the ball down. And that's what I always said to people who watch a game of rugby. Next time you watch it, don't just watch the ball up in the air, watch the battle on the floor, because that's where the game is won and lost. Exactly the same as rugby league, where rugby league games are won at the tackle area. If you play the ball quickly and they're not set, and you're a decent team, you've got a decent hooker and halfbacks, you're going to cause some damage.
Do you see that there's, from the time you've joined now rugby union, so you're into your rugby union, the transition from the 2001 since you started up until the present day, do you see a lot of the game's evolved because there's more rugby league guys getting involved now within the sport?
There's a lot more guys getting involved in the attack now than probably at the start. It was nearly all defence. There's a lot of guys involved with the attack now, and they're doing a good job. The big thing about union is the first phase, like from lineouts, from scrums, you have to be very, very creative and very accurate from that in attack, because it's the only time you get really to have like a 10-yard space between everybody else, because the rest of the time it's only 1 yard back at the ruck. It's only to the back foot. So and also, you're only going against 4 players in like 50 metres of space. So from a line-out, I tried to explain this to a couple of rugby league people, and they went, "Geez, we never thought of that." I said, "You've only got 4 defenders, mate. And you defended 4.5 with your full-back who comes up, potentially on the outside. You've got 4 defenders defending like 50 metres of space. And that's why it's so vital in attack that you're accurate from line-out, get a good line-out delivery, etc. And the rugby league lads went, "Never thought of it like that." I said, "Yeah, you've got 4 players, mate. 50 metres defending it."
I think
not easy.
I think as rugby league guys, we sort of. I think me growing up personally as a young lad, my granddad was a big rugby union fan, and he used to always watch it on TV. And the days of like Rob Andrew and Rory Underwood and Will Curlin and I didn't enjoy the game because it was a little bit more of the kick, the kick based and going for conversions quite a lot. But I do sit down now. I do enjoy watching rugby union, and to be honest, I probably watch more rugby union now than I do rugby league. But I do see it's a little bit more expansive in the attack. The attack's more fluent. Obviously, there's an element to that where now the full-time athletes as well. In terms of that.
Yeah, and like I said, they're having reviews and how to make the ball quicker at the ruck area, etc. So yeah. Well, well, I said, if you want to watch a game of rugby league, sometimes I said to people, what's the action after the guy's tackled, the wrestled, you get the guys who play nowadays, they wrestle miles more than what we used to do when we played, and it's a huge part of the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I tell you people to watch that, and they go, "Oh yeah, we didn't really notice that." You know what I mean? Then I said to people, "Watch the contest at the tackle area. People getting in there, getting their hands on the ball, and big men coming, smashing them off the ball like 18, 19 stone. And you have to be incredibly brave to bend down over there and put their hands on the ball, trust me. People like Sam Warburton, these I used to see them, the back of the necks were covered in cuts and lacerations and everything after matches. So, both great games. And, as I said, the big thing is the speed of ball at the ruck in rugby league and speed of ball at the ruck in rugby union.
Yeah, I think in both rugby league and rugby union, I think, from just, if you're just a spectator, sometimes you don't understand the actual technical aspects of it, and if you don't know what.
Like I said, that's rugby union people said, "Oh, they do rugby league, they just run down with their head down, one pass, they run." I go, "No, what they're doing, they're working to percentage lines on the pitch. They're working to a 40-30% line. Then they'll load either left or right, and they'll go at it with the player." I thought, I didn't understand that. I didn't realise that. So I'll watch it with a bit more interest now, because they will say, all they seem to do is just run with one pass and run into the next person. I said, no, trying to set up plays which they're going to create, like ruck 3, ruck 4, ruck 5. That's the big play, and they're going to go hard at them, with a double block play or whatever. And so yeah. It's all about education. You always enjoy something if you understand it more, don't you?
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah. What just 18 months ago, obviously everybody got a little bit excited in rugby league because Shaun Edwards was potentially coming back to, the club where it all started, and it created a lot of press. Not only the fact that he was signing and become one of the coaches, but then it all sort of just fell a little bit sour, and it never happened. Do you want to just elaborate on how that come about? And first of all, are you potentially nearly took the coach's job, and then what happened for it to fall through?
Well, Ian Lanigan, my agent was speaking to Ian, and he said that potentially that obviously Sean Wayne situation came, and then I thought, what, I'd like to be the first person to come back, and I've been head coach of a championship team at Rugby Union, which was Wasps. I'd love to try to become the first person to come back to Rugby League and to try to win a Rugby League championship. I think if you said that 25, 30 years ago, people would have just laughed at you. You know what I mean? When Rugby Union was not professional, they said that's just impossible. How can a union coach become a league coach, or a league coach become a union coach? But you can now. It's great, isn't it? But what happened really was Wigan have had a certain way of doing things with Ian Lanigan, who's still a great friend of mine. It's almost like he's like a director of rugby there. And when I was head coach at Wasp, I had control over all my staff. With Sir Ian McGeechan as director of rugby, we had control over everything. But I quickly learned that with Wigan, I always wanted to bring in a fitness guy, a fitness guy to revamp the fitness squad, because I'm huge on fitness. I'm not saying the lads who there were any good. I don't know. I just wanted to change something. But unfortunately, that came very, very clear after about 4 months after I'd agreed to go there. Even though I hadn't signed a contract, I'd agreed to go there. That was not going to happen. And to have no control whatsoever over your staff was not really the way I'd been used to being head coach at Wasp. And I told Wigan at Christmas that I won't be coming. I had no job, nothing else lined up afterwards. So I was obviously on the market then. Luckily for me, we won a Grand Slam that year, and we had the best defence in Six Nations, and with the French Federation made me an offer, and I'm here in France now.
It always seems, because we're involved in rugby league, when people come back from rugby union, it always seems like, well, what's the motive? Because obviously, the money-wise, rugby union at the minute is just, it can blow rugby league out.
A lot of my offers were pretty similar. Not saying they were exactly the same, but a lot of my offers were pretty similar. Length of contract was it is a bit longer here in France because of the way the employment laws are. It's very difficult to sack someone in France. So if you get a 4-year deal, you're pretty much locked in for a 4-year deal unless you do something, silly, punch somebody or do something, stupid like that. So that is one difference. But most of my offers were pretty much similar. But as I said, my motivation to come back was, obviously to be closer to my family and friends again. But on a purely rugby point, I wanted to be the first person to win a league and union one. I'm a bit greedy at times.
Have you any aspirations to ever come back to rugby league, or have you not really thought about that at the moment?
I've got 4 years. I've got four years to go here.
So it's a long time, isn't it?
Well, I'm here right close to where Catalan Dragons are play. That wasn't that didn't happen by accident. You know what I mean? I came here to live in this area because I wanted. There's lads from Wigan.
Right, yeah.
Took a lot of lads out for a bit of dinner before Christmas when I came over for a couple of weeks. All the Wigan lads, Micky McAlorum and You know, Joe Tompkins and Sam Tompkins. All went out for dinner and had a good crack. It was great. And I do see them a lot, so, you know, I'm still interested in Rugby League. I love to watch NRL, I love to watch Super League, and I can't wait to start watching the Catalan Dragons play here in Perpignan.
I might put a £5 bet on him. Mr. Edwards, the next Catalans coach, is it?
I think Mickey's doing a better job than me.
Do you see Rugby League's changed or evolved from when you was playing, Shaun? Did you have to?
It's definitely more structured now. Definitely more structure, and there's definitely a big, a lot more wrestle at the tackle area. The rest of it, probably not that difference. I think the defences are probably more disciplined in the way they hold the line. There's not that much line speed anymore because you've got to remember, when I first played Rugby League, it was only a 5-yard drill.
Right.
People forget that. People think Rugby League's always been 10-yard drill. It's not. He only came in 1993. So a lot of the defences, they go up, don't they, hard for 3 or 4 or 5 yards and hold the shape on them edges, slightly behind each other. Whereas, particularly when it was 5-yard drill, you know, we used to be going a little bit more up and in, a little bit more of an umbrella sort of defence. So, but definitely, without a shadow of doubt, there's definitely more structure, and there's definitely these guys are absolutely brilliant at the tackle area now, of holding, squeezing people in, 3-man tackles, you know, coming in, chopping the legs and stuff like that. I know you can do it only over the knees, but they're absolutely fantastic at it, aren't they? I mean, on a different level to what, you know, we had good guys at it who could do it. Like Ellery was brilliant at sort of slowing the balls down. But everyone's good at it now, aren't they?
There's someone was telling me a story, the fact that when you was playing at Wigan, that, you know, you was doing your video review and you was personally flying up out the line and, you know, trying to put pressure on the defence and you was leaving guys behind. And apparently it was John Morney who said, Shaun, you need to slow down and let the rest of the guy, you need to slow down and stay with the guys. And you said, listen, tell the rest of the guys to move up to me. And that year, you know, Wigan had a successful year. I think they did the Grand Slam.
Yeah, I can't remember that, but
you'll take that.
I did used to fly up at the line, to try to like create that umbrella sort of shape, and because I knew as a first or second receiver, I used to hate it when teams did that to me. You know, if someone gets up into our line on the outside, and generally you have to turn the ball back inside. It's difficult to do, but sometimes I definitely was guilty of doing it too much at times. There's no doubt about that. I'll put my hands up and admit that.
It's your classic half like that, isn't it?
Yeah. Plus we didn't want tackle as well. That's people say, well, you know, you wasn't great. You know, it wasn't a great thing being a defence. I said, mate, I was 5'8". I was about 12 stone wet through. You're not going to be slotting people. That's 16, 17, 18 stone. I said, but I've been organising defences with Wigan and as a fullback, you know. Yeah. Bobby position used to have for halfbacks. I've been organising defences for 25 years. So that's why I know a little bit about defence.
What's the... so moving on now, there's just a little story. Me and you know one guy who's a good friend of yours, Ross. And Ross was telling us a story about when basically you asked him to drive over to Hull KR and to take part in, for you to take part in the testimonial game, and apparently they were short on numbers and you made him play.
Yeah. And he'd had a few drinks that before, Ross, and he was like sleeping in car driving up. I said, come on, just come for a bit of company. It's a long way to Hull KR. Went all the way over there, and they had no players, and Ross ended up playing. And then someone gave him a bit of a heavy hit, and I just completely lost it because you know, he was only a young kid at the time, 18, 19, and obviously not a professional rugby player. And I was furious that this guy had slotted him and really given him a tackle. I was chasing after this guy, trying to fight him all afternoon after that. But honestly, I drove all the way to Old KR, and they shouted my name out, come on, number 7, Shaun Edwards, and I got booed. All the way Old KR and back, I didn't ask him for a penny, no petrol money, nothing, I got booed.
It's quite funny actually, because I was speaking to Ross the other day about it, and he was saying, you know, he was a young kid. I was speaking to Ross the other day about it, and funny enough, he was saying, you know, I said I was 18. Shaun said, "Come on, you've got to play. There's no players." He said, "I put these shorts on." He said, "My pure cardan boxers were hanging out bottom of them." He said, I was about 10 stone piss wet through. He said, and they asked me to play in the centre, and Bright Sodja, at the time, who was playing rugby league, he was an international player, said to Ross, "Let me play on the wing. I've never played centre." And Ross said, "I've never played rugby before. I'm a school teacher." But he still says that. He still says they named one of the lounges the Ross Pryor Lounge. And it's a legend up there for taking to the turf. So, but no, quite a funny story. But yeah, it's just moving on now, just before we wrap it up though, Shaun. We'll just touch briefly on your dad as well, because, you know, your dad was known as a fantastic player, and unfortunately, he had to retire quite suddenly, really, through to a neck injury.
Lower back injury.
Lower back injury.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's in the Warrington Hall of Fame, and whenever you go to the Warrington matches, the players who watched your dad play say that he was absolutely magnificent. What were the things that he instilled in you, and who were your idols, when you was growing up?
Well, basically, I always wanted to just make my mum and dad proud of me. Really. And my granddad, he was my best mate. You know, both my granddads were very supportive. So yeah, that was the big driving force for me, is that I just want to make my mum and dad proud of me. And as I said, my dad, I think I got all the luck that my dad didn't have. You know, as regards, you know, ended up going to Wigan at the right time when they invested all that money. Obviously, I had to keep my place, you know what I mean, etc. I had my injuries, you know, I've had 4 knee surgeries, you know, etc. But didn't really have anything as bad as what my dad had, you know what I mean, which still, you know, with the mental health issues that, you know, we talk about. I'm a patron for Loose Heads, which is a rugby mental health support for the players. And it really affected the rest of his life, really, you know what I mean? Not being able to, to play rugby, having to stop playing rugby when you're 24, it's a difficult thing to handle, isn't it? But yeah, I was only making my mum and dad proud of me and my granddad, etc. So that was always my driving force. And I never wanted to really have a proper job as well. That was something bad.
I know.
My dad used to always say, "Don't go training. Well, you'll be getting up at 6 o'clock, go down pit." They're not pit's closed. He couldn't sell that anymore, could he?
It's funny you said, you know, like, it's interesting what you said there, you know, like, we talk now quite openly about mental health and how players, you know, seem to struggle, you know, whether it's through a career-threatening injury or whether it's just basically, you know, retired. Some players play rugby league for 15 years, finish and still suffer from it. But, you know, back then in the day, you know, your dad must have, you know, felt that. And, you know, there probably wasn't that support there as there is today.
Yeah, there's definitely not the support there today, you know. You know, I'll admit it, I felt it, you know, year and a half out. Because you have structure in your life, don't you, you know. Yeah. But then, for somebody to have structure, you know, everything you're doing is to be your best player you can be on a Saturday or Sunday or Friday night, whenever you play. So your whole week is structured to peak for that moment, and then all of a sudden, you know, you don't have anything to do and you have a lot of time on you. And it's great at first, you can eat what you want, drink what you want, but after about 4 or 5 months, you're like, I just want to get some structure back in my life. You know what I mean? And
it's it. Yeah.
Sorry,
sorry.
And it's that togetherness, that sense of bonding with your teammates, that you're all driving to one goal together, the whole club, you know, the team, coaching team, etc. Which is it's a fantastic feeling to be involved like that.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's so hard, isn't it? Like when that transition time comes, you know, and you've got to finish, and you're not in that surroundings because you don't realise like you say, you're structured. You've been told, you're almost told when to eat, when to train, you know, when to eat, when to shit, you know, when to piss. You know, it's like when you've got to try and find that, and you've got to fight. Yeah, innit? You and then you've got to try and make your own routine. People think, well, you'll be all right because you've always done it, but I think when you've got to do it yourself, it's a massive transition.
And you're not part of a group as well.
I know you don't realise that.
Total individual, and like I said, that sense of togetherness, that bonding, and that's a great thing. It's not just rugby, not rugby league, not rugby union, soccer. You know, amateur soccer, amateur rugby league, whatever it may be. You know, that's what sports. Such a positive thing, can be such a positive thing in the world.
You know, this doesn't just happen in professional sport. You know, like I can speak to lads who have played at Wigan St Pat's first team since they was, you know, they've started at under-8s and then they play first team up until they're about 32. And even, you know, finishing the amateur game, or, you know, people who come out of the military, these people struggle with, the transition, you know, going back to amateur rugby league players, every single Saturday, it's a religion for them to get up, have a certain routine, play the rugby league, go out with their mates in the clubhouse after. Once that's taken away from them, even them, they struggle with that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, as I said, you know, I'll openly admit it, you know, it was difficult for me, and I was just thankful that I got a job with Wasp and I was kind of back into the groove again. So, what
would you do think, Shaun, if you wasn't, you know, if it didn't pan out how you wanted in rugby? Is there something that you would have aspired to do? What
I want to be a PE teacher. I want to be a PE teacher. That was what I was aiming towards. But whether I was intelligent enough to pass the exams or not, I don't really know. There's different sorts of intelligence, isn't there? You know what I mean? Some is you know, school work and stuff like that, and other people that can be, you know, emotionally intelligent, etc. So I don't know.
Yeah, we're just trying to find out what you are, Micky, aren't we? We don't know. We're not sure yet.
No, I'm not intelligent at anything, to be honest.
But no, it is hard when you've you know. I believe that, you know, my skill set was I don't at the minute. I'm still in that transition period myself, even though I retired. You know, coming up to 5 years ago. I still believe that my destiny was to play rugby. You know, I was never an academic kid and stuff, and it's hard trying to find that next passion. Yeah. You know, rugby league was the only thing.
At gyms, you know, you see a lot of ex-players going to gyms and stuff like that because physical sort of physical feeling.
I think it's. I said nothing replicates that camaraderie with your teammates, because you're your teammates, but you're the best mates and you play. I don't think anything can replicate that, but I really get a lot out of like seeing groups in the gym, like a group come together and, you know, they all train and make friends, and you see people like I used to have the gym with Woody years ago, and like we see some people and who'd like they'd have to lift their head up, you know, they'd be dead shy, dead embarrassed, conscious about the weight and that, and then within 6-8 weeks they'd just come bouncing through the door, like we chatted with their mates, and I thought that's just
sense of belonging as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I said that's probably one of the reasons I've stuck at with the bit of fitness side of it. For one, I enjoy fitness still. I keep doing it myself. I join in. And I think two, like I don't know, you're in that group. You're in that mentality, like, you know, you're in a group.
A bit of banter flying around the gym.
Yeah, definitely. No.
Similar to being in a rugby team.
Yeah. I think there's what I tend to find as well with a lot of people in sport, really. You know, when we come from working class backgrounds as well, and you know, we're very, you know, we're fortunate, but we do work hard for what we want to achieve. I think we just we really want to pass a message on to other people and help, you know, inspire them, I suppose, is the word, to try and help them. And it might not be to succeed in sport or something. It might be something as simple as, bringing someone out of the shell who doesn't generally speak to people. I think rugby players and sports people tend to have that quality where they genuinely want to help people just improve one aspect of their life.
I totally agree with that, mate, yeah.
Shaun, we appreciate you for coming on, mate. It's been brilliant. You're going to say you're the biggest legend we've had on, and that includes Martin Afire.
Just one thing, got to wish Wigan all the best. Lammy, he's got a great team. He's assembled a great team there, and hopefully we can get some trophies this year. And I'm sure, with Bateman coming back next year, great signing for Wigan. There's good times and trophies around the corner.
I'm just the same to you, Shaun. I hope everything works out at France. I hope you don't win the Six Nations, but I don't mean that in a bad way. No, but again, I think if you have the influence, certainly what I've seen looking in, as you have it like with, Wasps, the Welsh team, you're very sought after coach, you're well respected. I'm sure you'll be a massive success in France, and I wish you all the best, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you. All the best, boys.
Thanks very much, Shaun. Cheers.